There's a chilling but uncanny resemblance in the way that Donald Trump is preparing to attack Iran and the way that Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine. Each leader came to the task fresh from a stunning success, or so they thought. For Putin, it was Syria. Bashar al-Assad had yet to be toppled. For Trump, it was Venezuela. Putin and Trump cut themselves off from reality by surrounding themselves with rings of sycophants. Putin had a close-knit circle of strategists, each vying with each other to be more hardline. One advocated the use of a tactical nuclear device in Ukraine. Another suggested that detonating a nuclear torpedo off the coast of Lancashire and sending a radioactive tsunami over Britain's aircraft manufacturing industry would be a good idea. In Trump's case, he has Christian Zionists and Fox News, from where he has drawn Pete Hegseth, his now aptly named Secretary of War. Both presidents are free from any functioning system of checks and balances. The power to go to war starts and ends in Trump's head. He even boasts about it. "I'm the one that makes the decision," Trump said recently. Putin thought, and Trump still thinks, that war is painless. Putin was so confident that Ukraine's government would collapse like a pack of cards that his troops ran out of fuel, food, and things as basic as a change of socks. The result was that the columns of Russian tanks and troops faced logistical challenges from day one of the invasion and soon got bogged down. Trump has sent an aircraft carrier into striking range with few working toilets and a crew that's already been on deployment for 8 months and is showing obvious signs of strain and stress. Putin installed a long white table between himself and his war cabinet when COVID-19 was raging through Russia, and Trump has done something equivalent in the White House against the ingress of any germ of doubt. When General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, briefed Trump, he had 3 talking points that jarred with the narrative his commander-in-chief was trying to construct. Kane said that US forces amassed in the Middle East could sustain a small or medium strike, but not a long war. He said that there would be potentially a high risk of American casualties. And he said that they would use so many missiles so quickly that the action could deplete US weapons stockpiles quickly, or so the New York Times reported. In Trump's account of the same briefing, Kane told him that any military action ordered would be easily won. But Kane's doubts notwithstanding, a war is surely coming. The signs are everywhere. Jordan's skies are buzzing with US military activity. US troops deployed from Iraq are appearing at a base in Lebanon, which the Iranian media is telling the locals they know all about. 11 F-22 stealth Raptors have landed at Ovda Air Base in Israel's Negev desert. They flew from RAF Lakenheath in the UK, supported by 7 aerial refueling tankers. Note, this is after the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer refused permission for British air bases to be used as a launch pad for an attack on Iran. Weasel words. Hospitals in Israel are preparing for war. They are repurposing underground car parks for acute wards. Israel's opposition leader, Yair Lapid, said he would put all his differences with the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu into a deep freeze in the event of a war with Iran. And last but not least, Trump has started using the very same language that the former US President George W. Bush did in searching for an excuse to attack Iran. Bush justified the 2003 Iraq invasion by maintaining that the US was in imminent danger of Saddam Hussein's weapons of mass destruction, which proved to be nonsense. In his State of the Union speech, Trump said that Iran was working to build missiles that will soon reach the United States of America. Hours before that speech, his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, claimed that Iran was a week away from having industrial-grade bomb-making material. Well, that is odd, because Trump claimed to have obliterated Iran's uranium enrichment program last year. So which of Trump's claims is true? The one he made last year or the one he's making today? They can't both be right. Trump's decision-making process has been the subject of intense scrutiny in Iran itself. Trump acts and thinks like the real estate dealer he once was in Manhattan. He's impulsive, erratic, emotional, but he's armed with stealth Raptors and cruise missiles. The cold calculations are done by Witkoff, Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, and Vice President J.D. Vance. Witkoff, Kushner, and Vance have a habit of melting into the background when the real decision is taken. As we have seen, throughout the faltering attempts to secure a ceasefire in Gaza. Trump is erratic. This has become enshrined in the taco theory. Trump always chickens out. Aaron David Miller, a former US Middle East peace negotiator, has a variant of the taco theory that still has Trump going to war. It is that he has boxed himself into a war he doesn't want. Trump's language on Iran today has changed from the sharp rebuke he gave Netanyahu for continuing to strike Iran after he, Trump, had called for a ceasefire last year. Netanyahu has been working on the US president with intelligence, so-called, about how Iran has restarted its nuclear enrichment program. With such a huge build-up of naval and air power, Trump has no off-ramp other than to claim some unprecedented breakthrough in the talks taking place in Geneva and Amman. Unlike Bush, Trump hasn't prepared the ground for a war at home or abroad. His excuses for war have veered wildly from the promise to protesters that help is on its way, to ending a nuclear program that he claimed last year to have obliterated, and lastly to the bizarre claim that Iran's missiles could be a global threat. There is no vote in the United Nations Security Council, and his allies in the Middle East have refused to allow US bases on their territory to be used as launch pads. In contrast, Iran is prepared for a long war, at least to withstand the first or second shock waves with command and control intact. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has entrusted Iran's top national security official, Ali Larijani, with the survival of the country in the event of the assassination of Iran's leaders. Every senior military and government official has 4 replacements. Trump asked why Iran hasn't capitulated in the face of the vast armada gathered on its doorstep. The answer is simple. This is a generation of Iranian leader honed by war. They have bitter, sometimes personal memories of the gas attacks launched by Saddam Hussein in the 8-year Iran-Iraq war. An estimated 1 million Iranians, both military and civilian, were exposed to chemical warfare agents. More than 100,000 were documented to have received emergency medical treatment for chemical injuries. Saddam was at the time financed by Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and supported by the US and Europe. German firms sent more than 1,000 tons of precursors of mustard gas, sarin, tabun, and tear gas, enabling Iraq to manufacture the gases. So whatever Trump can throw at them now is not new to Iran. Iran has also prepared the ground in the Gulf. It has told its nervous neighbors that each US base in their country could become a legitimate target for Iran in the event of a war. If Iran's main oil terminal at Karg Island is struck in a US-Israeli attack, all refineries along the Gulf will be vulnerable. To prepare for war, Iran has been loading almost 3 times the amount of oil it usually does onto its tankers. There is now a grim determination to prepare for war shared by the 2 main political factions in Iran's elite. That much is known, but the great unknown is how China may react. China is unlikely to dispatch troops or engage in any direct conflict. It's saving a direct confrontation with the US on Taiwan. But it would be fatal for Trump to misread this as passivity. China's support for Iran is real. Iran is a full member of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which is not a security pact, but China, Russia and Iran recently deployed naval vessels for the joint security exercises in the Strait of Hormuz. Less visible has been the recent arrival of Chinese-made surface-to-air missile batteries in Iran as part of an oil for weapons deal to bypass US sanctions. There are unverified reports too that Iran might yet receive 5th generation J-20 stealth fighter jets. During Iran's Air Force Day this month, a Chinese military attaché presented a model of the J-20 stealth fighter to an Iranian Air Force commander. These are public gestures, but they serve as warnings too. What can be said with some certainty is that China has drawn a red line against allowing regime change in Iran, which remains China's top energy partner. This then has all the makings of a regional war. Fueled by his own ego and a sense that things are going wrong for him domestically, Trump is being propelled into a full-blown war that neither he nor Israel has any capacity to control. The 2 powers will be attacking a country 4 times larger than Iraq, which Bush attacked. The US under Trump is even less prepared than Bush was for the consequences of a prolonged war. Will Trump flinch at the last moment? Who knows? If he has any vestige of common sense, he should, for this war could prove to be the nemesis of both him and Netanyahu, the ultimate bridge too far.